So, hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, who is recovering in the DR to be exact. That's why he looks like he's on vacation mode. And so, we hope that he is having a great time. I'm sure he'll fill us in. He just got there yesterday. So, I'm sure he's got some adventurous things to tell us. But nevertheless, the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. I'd like to say a big giant thank you and hello and welcome to YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Not only do we read the comments, we share the link, and I know I keep forgetting, but I'm going to try to remember today. And I guess if you guys really wanted to join, I would say, hey, can you share the link? All I ask is that if I haven't seen you before, please show me your face so that I can make sure that it's no shenanigans involved, because sometimes people like to play a little games or whatever. So I want to avoid that. Also, if you do not have anything pertinent to add to the conversation, please do not join, as we would like to leave the link open for people who can add something specific to the conversation. So I hope that helps today. We're going to be talking about Mr. Charleston White and something that he said on Cam Newton's podcast. It was like over 3 hours. So I actually listened to the whole show. I didn't think that I would, but it was very entertaining and, insightful. So I'm going to share a snippet of what I thought was interesting among a whole host of other things. And so let's see who is on here. We have Monet. What's going on with you? Michael, how are you? Queen of Spades, Troy. Dia, how are you? Tisha K, what's going on? Mike Nice, how are you? Brother Don, our moderator, thank you so much for all that you do. Love and appreciate you. And Patricia, what is going on? And Tisha said, this is going to be good. I saw that interview. Yes, it was an awesome interview. Is Charleston White going to be Charleston White now? He going to be himself. But he said a lot of things that I just think was really interesting. And Renz G, how you doing? And Anais, how you doing? Long time no see. Donovan, how are you?
Well, it's another day in living, miserable and stressed out and with migrants and this and that. And, I don't have enough money to live and all this other stuff. That's if I lived in America. I'm in the Dominican Republic where your dollar goes a lot longer. And it's just, this is my second home, basically. So I'm doing very, very fine here. Also, real quick, if you've been to the DR before, it is very noisy here. These people love to party. They love to ride their moto scooters all over the place. So please bear with me. And of course, the internet service is kind of sketchy, depending if there's a rain or whatever. So if I click out, I will click back in. No worries. Don't worry about it. But yeah, it's, how dare I get condemned to an island for a few things that I have to say about women and all this other stuff. Please do not punish me like this again. Please don't punish me. But no, in all seriousness, it's great to be on the show. I was watching football, but I said, no, I got to go do the show and do what I need to do. But do us a favor, you guys. Click in. If you see that scrolling banner at the bottom and you do want to donate, please donate to the Cash App, the PayPal, whatever. The content creators get 100% of your donation. Whereas if you use the YouTube app, and if you want to use that, that's fine as well. Just know that the content creator only gets 60% of what you donate. The man's going to get his cut. Also want to remind you guys about the AfricanDiasporaNews.org. Go over there, sign up, become a member. Hey, we can have this conversation. Like right now, I would tell you a bunch of things about what's going on in the real life here in the DR. I just can't say it on this platform. So if we could go on another platform, I can say what I want to say and be truthful about it. So that's another aspect to do it. And then there's also an African Diaspora News Channel app. If you haven't seen that, go download it, Google Play, Apple Store. You can download it. And again, join up, become a member, subscribe, and share on your links. The revolution will not be televised. This is going to be an interesting topic. I've heard of Charleston White. I've seen some of his videos. I think it's, he has some pertinent things to say. But I will say this, and I can say this on the Demetra K Show. American culture is destroying the Dominican Republic culture in regards to relationships. And again, this is a pertinent topic as regarding how they raise their children here as well, because they're raising the children, but they're not teaching them anything. So this is very important. And also, before we go, if you're new to the platform, give us a shout out to where you're watching the program from. We'd appreciate that.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Donovan. And Shaniqua, how are you doing today? Who else came on here? Aquita, how are you? All right, so let's get into it for the sake of time. So again, I saw this particular snippet that I'm going to show you. It's really more audio than the actual video. But Charleston White, he was invited onto Cam Newton's podcast where they talked about a whole host of things. Now, I don't know, for whatever reason, got stuck on talking about Coach Deion Sanders. Now, obviously Cam Newton being a, football guy, he played in the league and all of that, I'm sure. Him and Deion are very good friends, but Charleston White, he has made it no secret that he is not a fan of Deion Sanders, especially in regards to him leaving Jackson State to go to Colorado State University. So leaving an HBCU to go to a, pretty much all white university, is 92% white. And so he kept on pressing Charleston on, well, Deion, he left for more money. The HBCU wasn't paying. And, Charleston made some really, really good points about that. But anyway, this particular clip that I'm going to show you is in regards to religion. Now, Charleston also talked about him being incarcerated. I think it's at the age of 14, where he participated in a murder. And so Cam, who comes from a Christian background, his father is a pastor, I guess. He asked him about the Bible and, did he read the Bible? And I'm paraphrasing at this point. You guys can watch the interview while he was incarcerated. And he says no, because he really couldn't grasp the traditional Bible of thou art, thou art, how it was written. But he said he did a lot of reading. He learned a lot of stuff in there. He also made the difference between being spiritual and religious. He says spiritual, it's just kind of something you get, from Jesus or wherever, and being religious, it comes from the word, right? So he says there's a lot of Christians that aren't spiritual. They just kind of know the word, basically there's a lot of Christians that go to church, but they don't operate in what Jesus would have you do, right? And so then they got on the conversation of raising children, and this is what was said. So here we go.
Go. As a kid, don't know scripture makes sense. I know it now.
Yes, of course.
So, but as a kid, it says train up a child.
Yeah.
How many parents are really training? We're raising our kids. We ain't training them. That's why when they get in situations, they don't go to their training to make good choices. Mm-hmm. When police get in situations, they go to their training. They training is to shoot. Shoot. Where? Shoot. Why you didn't shoot him in the leg? Because he was in a situation where he had to fall back on his training, and there's a silhouette where they're trained to shoot center mass. So that's why they don't shoot you in the leg. So what training are we giving our children where they get in a situation where they choose the training? We're not training. We raise our kids. How do we raise them? Food, shelter, clothing. We ain't training these kids. We ain't training these motherfuckers. So we ain't trained. We got to go to work. Mama got to go to work. Daddy cross town playing stepdaddy, making more babies. Who?
Okay, let me remove that. So, of course, y'all know Charleston White is very funny, right? He talked about how he didn't really realize he was a comedian, and all that kind of stuff. Y'all, if y'all see that, I don't know how you could be on the internet and not know of Charleston White. He's very vivid in his opinions. He really just does not give an F, right? And so I also should say, like, toward the end of the interview, and during the interview, he kind of said some things that's kind of like, oh my God. Like he was saying, yeah, I don't have a problem with if your woman is talking back, you kind of straighten her up physically or whatever. But then he goes on to say, well, that I've never done that. That's not how I am. He says the problem is, he said, because he does a lot of work in the community, has his own organization, and his thing is helping the youth. So he's been to the White House, to Congress, everywhere you can think of, really speaking on behalf of the youth. As he said, he was a troubled youth. And so he says, but the person I am off the internet, he says, I help people. He says, the stuff I do on the internet, I don't do it for people. I'm just here because this is kind of what you guys want. He says, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, if I was on here telling y'all about I'm helping children and, all this other stuff, and these are the works that I'm doing, he says, y'all wouldn't care. But that I'm incendiary and I say these things, and he said, it's made me rich. He said, I have become rich due to, the interviews that he does. It sounds like he charges like $10,000 an interview, although it sounds like he maybe did Cam's interview for free because he was already in Atlanta. But he says, I become rich off of the things that I say. He says, but in real life, I am out there. I am about the children and helping them in every way, shape, and form. So it was a really good interview. Y'all go check it out. It was very interesting. But again, they were talking about the scripture, Proverbs 22:6, which says, train up a child in the way that it should go, that way that when it's old, it shall not depart from that. So they took exception with the words train and raise. And he says, well, when you raise a child, you put a roof over their head, clothing, food, and all that other stuff. But when you train them, you actually give them instructions and things that they can use. So again, that way, when they're older, they can actually fall back on that training. And y'all heard him, he used police training as an example, where they're actually trained to shoot in order to make it home that night, right? And so I want to have a conversation with you all, and of course, Donovan, and we can get into other stuff about how we can start training our children opposed to just raising our children, because I totally agree with him on that. So Donovan, what say you? And hello, M, how you doing? Who else came on here now? And I'll read the rest of the comments, but Donovan?
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, my question has always been, when did all of this stop? When did they just say, you know what, it's more important to go work than to raise my children? If I ask an average woman, would they rather work or be taken care of, an intelligent person would say, I'd rather be taken care of. I mean, when did being a mother and a nurturer and a woman has been so demonized to where it's something not to aspire to? That is the hardest job in the world, to have to sit there and sacrifice yourself like most mammal moms do for their children so that they can go out into the world and survive and be productive citizens in the case of human beings. When I talk to younger women, and they rather put their careers ahead of their womanhood, I'm like, wow. Because I'm going to tell you guys this. I don't know if you guys have been following me on Facebook or whatever. One of the reasons I'm here in the DR is because I have some, like you guys know, medical issues that I'm going through. I have leukemia. I have chronic leukemia. And so I got to get treatments, some chemo treatments and things I got to get down here. And I said, well, rather than stay in the United States, I'll do it in the DR. And they're like, yeah, you can do it over there. Okay. So, killing two birds with one stone. I'm always thinking. But my point is this, and I talked to Dimitri about it as well. You don't want to grow old alone. Man was not put on this earth to be by themselves. And I'm not saying go out there and settle or whatever. That's just crazy. What I'm saying is, we have gotten to a point to where we have told ourselves delusional situations in regards to how we parent, how we relate to the opposite sex, and all these other things. And it's gotten so jacked up. Who suffers? The children. And it gets worse and worse and worse as generations go by. The millennials, I think one of the main problems with the millennials is a lot of their parents were children themselves when they had the kids. How can a kid raise a kid? They can't. So, I really want to hear what you guys got to say in regards to this, because, it's like the Bible or anything of old school. People say, well, the Bible, especially if you guys that are super Christians, well, the Old Testament is irrelevant because Jesus came and he changed all of that. And you just got to believe in him and you'll go to heaven and all that other stuff. And I said, well, that doesn't make any sense. So the 10 Commandments has no relevance, is what you're saying. Leviticus, how you eat and live, has no relevance. And we can go on and on in the Bible. It has relevance. So some of the things that we used to do back in the day, it could still work today. As a matter of fact, it usually does. How did we get so far off of the beaten path? Maybe we need to circle back around and get back to the fundamentals. And don't we do that? Okay, let's say like me, you're a bad math student. I learned math off flashcards. If you are a person like myself who learned math off of a flashcard, when you got to algebra, you're screwed. You're screwed because in algebra, what do you got to do? You have to show your work. Flashcards taught me to memorize the answer, and I could not show my work. I knew the answer, couldn't show my work. So to me, it's the same thing in regards to the fundamentals of life. We need to get back to the things that work. We're not talking about the abusive men back in the day. We're not talking about the cheating men back in the day. Let's take the pieces of things that worked and get back to the fundamentals with that.
Yeah. He also said that at the end of that particular clip, when mama's at work and daddy's across town taking care of his stepchildren, making more babies and taking care of his stepchildren. Let's not leave that off, you know. Hello to everybody that came on here. M, you say the culture promotes the base thinking, confused people are just easier for these brainless oligarchs to control. You're absolutely right. We have to become more of a thinking people. Hello, Arniva. How you doing today? Michael, you say, Donovan and Demetra, I'm a millennial. I was raised and trained by my parents. However, the meaning of tradition needs to be redefined for the 21st century and beyond. See, I don't know, Michael. It doesn't. Well, I guess they're all often needs to be redefinition to certain things. But I agree with Donovan, which is going to be rare. So I'm going to write this down. That where did we get off of the beaten path? You know, where we traditionally were. Now, I know, you know, some people will say, like, especially in our generation, we got a lot of whoopings. You know what I mean? I don't know if parents are whooping their child as much, and I don't necessarily agree with it. You know, whooping your child, it is abusive. Let's keep it real. It's abusive. But tap here and there, it's probably necessary. And of course, with today's time, with social media and just a whole host of things that are different than what we used to go through, yeah, there needs to be some sort of fine tuning. But the principles of actually raising and training a child, you know what I mean? Like, of course, you give the child the essentials, but do you teach them how to do things? Because we often have this conversation regarding our community putting the children out at 18 years old, right? But a lot of times we put the children out and we didn't train them to do anything, right? Get out and, you know, mama she got to get her wig snatched off without you being in the house. Or, you know, daddy want to run around the house naked, whatever, you got to go. So a child is 18, is put out the house. It doesn't have any life skills at all. Don't know how to balance no checkbook, or I know we don't do checkbooks as much. Donovan does because he's old, but you know, we don't, you know what I'm saying? Life essentials, how to pay bills and none of that. You just say, get out, because you didn't train the child to survive. Like, if we really thought about it, how many of our children, I'm not talking about our grown children, but let's say if you got a child that's 18 to 25 or so, how many of them, if they're living at home with you, can you say, all right, get your little hefty bag, it's time for you to go. You gotta go. How many of y'all can say, well, you know what? I'm confident that my child will be able to go out there, rent their own place without me helping them, know how to pay bills, balance their account, and, you know, be fully functional. How many of us really can say that? Now, we probably can, but a lot of people really can't because they didn't train their children to do that. They gave them, and this is another thing, parents give children directives. Do this, do that, do this, do that. I said do this, I said do that, but they don't say, okay, let me show you. All right, let's do it together. Or this is how you do it. The other case in point, I'm gonna get to these comments and give it back to Donovan, is we hear a lot, oh, well, this generation of women don't know how to cook. And that might be true because I'm 52 years old, so I was closer to the generation of women that was like, we cooked. We didn't go out for takeout or, you know, drive through, you know, and bring something home for the family. We cooked. And so we were, you know, as a girl in the kitchen, you know, watching mom and my dad cooked as well, you know, so we learned those lessons, but not so much, right? And I also often say my generation, you know, we stopped teaching for whatever reason. So There's a huge disconnect, and we got to get back to that. Donovan, jump in anyone. I'm going to read these comments and just let me know when you want to jump on in. Willie, you say, it didn't happen overnight. It took 45 years to get here. Yeah, I think it was you that was talking about that Angelique commercial. I could bring home the bacon fried up in the pan. Can you bring, that's how old we are, Donovan. You're much older than me, but that's how old we are. I remember that commercial coming on television as a child, and I was like, who is this white woman? She's got the eggs in pan and she could do it all, right? You know, but I guess the perfume was what made her a woman. I don't know. But wow. Donovan Ukraine says these young Dominicans are losing their traditional values due to the Western influence. Okay, and Asha, how you doing? It says, what about the kids who left on their own? Yeah, there's a lot of children who left on their own for whatever reason, and I don't know, maybe they felt like they were equipped to do that. They can, survive, and they probably figured it out. But I'm really speaking more so to the children that were put out and didn't get, have any life skills. They weren't taught anything. And, honestly, there's still a lot of adults, okay? There's a lot of adults who are supposed to be fully functioning. They're like, well, I don't know. I don't know how to do any of these things, So it's not just the younger people. Donovan says older women are now competing with the younger women. I see women my age with long ass eyelashes out here. Lord have mercy. Tisha says, in my opinion, we are selfish now. He says, even with our own kids, mama need a life too is a reoccurring theme these days. It's like, they're like, yeah, okay, I get it. Mama needs a life, but I mean, did you teach your children to go have a life of their own, or did you just endure the children, tolerate the children in motherhood, and then when it was time for you to legally get rid of them, you did, and then you wonder why your children, speak about girls, why sometimes they're ill-equipped to deal with the world, and they get out there doing something strange for the change, and I need a bag, or they end up in the DR with Donovan and talk about, hey, how you, Poppy? How you doing, Poppy? You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't teach our daughters life skills. So, it's definitely something to think about. And Ebony says,
well, I'm kind of glad, I will cut you off. I'm kind of glad you brought that up, because I'm telling you, out here in the DR and the Sua area, Puerto Plata, I am almost double the ages of some of these girls that are running around here. You don't really see women my age, because most of them are married and off the streets or whatever they're doing. They're normal working, working women. You don't see them out here, but you see these young girls that I'm double their age. And when I look at them, to me, they're like, I look like I'm looking at children. That's how bad it is. But it goes to show you the influence of what we're not teaching. Now, in a country like this, developing country where there's not a lot of opportunities, you see all this stuff happening, right? And just like you see the Haitians, isn't it amazing, Demetra? If you're Black and Haitian and you go to the United States for the same exact reasons the Venezuelans are, the Biden administration is shipping you back. Because I'm telling everybody here that'll listen, if you're going to come to the United States, now is the best time. If you can get in there right now. And a lot of them do want to go to the United States and live those American dreams. But yeah, I'm an old man walking around here, and I'm telling you, there's a lot of guys older than me that are here as well.
Absolutely. And so, hello to everybody. Ebony and Debbie says, I taught my daughter, I am 61 and she is 30. She can throw down like me. I told her, if you want a husband, you got to learn to cook and clean. I totally agree with you. I have a 30-year-old daughter as well. I told her the same thing, and she could cook. My daughter, I mean, she cooks laps around me, right? She's an excellent cook. And I know some people will take exception to what you said. If you want to, have a good husband, got to learn how to cook. Have a husband, got to learn how to cook. Well, that's kind of the other disconnect. Well, what's wrong with him? Now, obviously, a man should know how to cook, right? Especially if he's been a bachelor. Like, do you know how to boil hot dog water, an egg or something? But if you're traditional in that sense, yeah, you probably, as the wife or the mom, you're going to do most of the cooking, and you should at least know the basics, right? Because don't no man want to be eating out of no boxes and bags all the time. He wants, to see what you can do in the kitchen, and it's more economical to cook at home. So I agree with you. Let's see here. Quita says, after Angelique, you need a Calgon to take you away. Yep, I remember those two. Calgon, take me away. The bubble bath, right? Probably cause a lot of women issues down there. Ebony says Donovan is above 30. Yeah, Donovan's like 63. He's 63. No, he's 53. He's 53. Believe it or not. Darius, how are you? He says, well, I will simply say this, and I am done. When black folks made the foolish, okay, maybe you cut off your comment. Yes, M, the Anjali woman. That was the commercials. It's pretty funny now that you look back at it. Mr. Cass, how you doing? He says, I love older women like Miss King. Okay. And I am, you say, my children can hunt for food if need be. All right. Now, we ain't really took it that far yet to be, you know. Yeah, I guess we could if we have to. We just be vegetarian. Hello, Will. How are you this fine evening? We have not seen you on here in a while, but we are glad that you are here today. Debbie says, I forgot to add, she is very responsible. See, yeah, she's got a good mama, you know, and daddy, I'm assuming, teaching her how to be responsible and all those things. So big ups to you all.
But well, you know, the funny thing is Asha's son, you know, who I know personally, she was a fairly good child, comes from a great family, had both her parents and stuff. And, you know, and like she says here, I never got whoopings or grounded. I slept a lot as a child. And I can believe that. But also, she also has the wherewithal to go out there and expand into the world and try to make it on her own without having her parents like push her out of the nest or, you know, whatever. So, you know, and that comes from good parenting and teaching them you leave when you're ready to leave or you think you're ready to leave, because you could always come back home if you fail, right?
Absolutely. Michael, you said the American culture trains kids early on to leave their parents' house at 18 years old. Without a good social support system in Africa, Asia, Europe, etc., kids have strong social support system. I would agree with that, especially in a lot of the cultures. A lot of times, the girls, especially, they can't leave until a man wants to take them on as a wife. They don't allow their daughters just be out there being treated like trampolines. You know, they might get treated like a trampoline behind the parents' back. They don't do it in the open, of course. But yeah, that's kind of their thing. You can't just take my daughter off and just hop up and down on her without, you know, wanting to marry her or even, you know, being married first, right? So yeah, I agree with you in that aspect. I'll show you say it's always about teaching women something. Some of these dudes can't change a tire. Now you ain't lying. You ain't lying. Someone can't change a tire. Don't know a Phillips from a from a wrench. A Phillips screwdriver from a wrench.
And the sad thing is, I blame the men that are around these children. Okay, let's say the father's not there because you ladies love the bad boys. You love the Pookies and the Ray Rays, so we know those daddies ain't there. But whatever male role models are around these young boys, for them not to know how to do that stuff, I blame the men. Because Dimitri will tell you, I have a nephew. Now, my brother, he's stationed in another place, and his mother is stationed in Riverside, California at the Air Force Base there. So my brother can't be, you know, physically in his child's life every day, but I take my nephew out, regardless if he likes it or not, and I show him how to change oil, how to do this, how to do that, because as a man, I would be less of a man not to show him that at all. And, you know, you got all these uncles and cousins and older cousins that could be showing these young men how to be men, and they don't do it. And it's a travesty. And fellas, we got to stop blaming the women for how these young men are, you know, coming up. If you believe your nephew or your son or your grandson is being effeminated, say something to the mom. Say something to the mom. My mother told me that when we were little, that's one of the things that my father told her. You're raising my sons to be punks. And then she changed her narrative at how she raised us. Like I said, a lot of these women don't know unless you tell them. Come on, let's participate.
Absolutely. And Will, you say credit and life skills should be taught in high school. Late to the conversation, though. No, you're not. You're right on time. I agree. Of the many things that are taught in school, especially high school, I would even say middle school is when it should be taught. Right? It should be taught in school, but that is not. I think I'm one of those people that think that a lot of things should be taught at home first, and then when they go to school, then it's just extra, right? It's additive Because when you teach your children certain things at home, then they can go and have a well-rounded, more of a well-rounded conversation at school, right? So like if the teacher's saying, well, this is how you do A, B, C, and D. And they can say, well, yeah, because at home I learned it this way as well, blah, 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 blah. It's not them getting all of the instruction. They got, some of it from home. I feel that way completely about African-American studies. Of course, we heard a lot about that in the last couple of years, how a lot of schools, especially in Republican states, they don't want to teach African-American studies. And I'm like, well, good, because we don't want our children to necessarily learn it from your educators, because they're not going to teach it right. We should be teaching those things to our children at home, because no other community expects for their children to go to school and learn how to be what they are. They just kind of taught that at home. So, but I agree with you though. And Sunlight, where have you been, lady? Welcome back, by the way. All right, so let's see here. I'm gonna skip on down. Oh, thank you, Marcelli. Say we look good for our ages. Yeah, it depends on the day, I guess. I'm just kidding. Thank you. All right. Let's skip down. Oh, okay, I'm to the bottom. Yes, Donovan is in the DR. Can't you tell he's got a nice little glow to him, and all of that. He's having so much fun, and he's only been there a day. One day, and he's gonna be there 16 days. Yeah, so and then he's gonna turn his tail around and be right back there in February for what they call this Super Bowl. They're gonna watch football. Sure they are. And everybody said, no, we just don't want cowards. Yeah, so of course we always hear that, oh, you guys with Ray and Pookie, or whatever the case is. Like I said, I don't know any woman that wants to be with a Ray or Pookie. Does a woman want a man with a little backbone who's assertive? Sure, yeah, we like that. But when we say Ray and Pookie in the sense of he just ain't no good, right? He gonna take your ATM card out your purse in the middle of the night, take your car keys and be gone, and then you have to get a ride to work the next day. Yeah, we don't want that. Okay, we don't want that in a man, but we do want a man to say, all right, baby, I got this. Yeah, button your lip. I got this. Okay, you sit your fine self down somewhere. I got this. We want that. Okay, because it's like, oh, tell me more. But as far as all that other, no, we don't want that. Okay, we're not signing up. Now, some people are. Let's keep it going. Some women are, knowing that some of these men got 15, 11,000 kids, run around the same neighborhood, and they somehow think, okay, well, he's going to treat me differently. He's going to stick around. He's going to put a ring on my finger. Okay, those women, yeah, you kind of get what you got. But there's a lot of women who, got with a man and maybe they got, started a baby or whatever. They didn't expect for that man to say, yeah, it's been real. But as far as Khan said, make sure that man commits to you. Not just, oh, you look fine, I look fine, we're going to jump into bed and we trampoline each other. No, make him commit. And that commitment is, I want to make you my wife. Not, well, I think about it. Well, I just ain't ready for marriage yet. Well, then you ain't ready for what's under my dress either.
Well, can I ask you a question, Demetra? If you see a guy, let's say he's in his 30 years old, his hair's plaited, he's got the Converse on, he's got Dickies, and he's wearing a wife beater. Do you think that guy would be a good candidate to be the father of your children?
Said if he's got braids and a wife beater and what?
The wife beater, khakis, and some Chuck Taylors, and he's known not to have a job.
Oh well, because y'all come on, we from California, so to see a man dressed like that, that could be a good time. I'm just saying, but that don't mean he ain't about nothing. He might, have a lot going on. But okay, now, the man ain't got no job and he got all these cheering and all this other stuff going on. Yeah, okay, that's probably not a good man. He's got a lot of other stuff going on. And also, if that man does make you a priority and he's got a bunch of children and all that, then he's not going to be a good guy in the end, right? Because it's temporary. A man that puts a woman first, you're my everything, but he ain't paid no attention to his own children. He's barely working. He's got a lot of other stuff going on. That is temporary. Right now, you're just feeling a void. He's wanting the warm and the cushy, and maybe it's cuffing season. I don't know. So, yeah, that's probably not a good man for anybody. He's not even a good man for himself. So he's not going to be a good man for any woman. So I agree. Facts Not Feelings, how are you today? All right. So Darius, you saying, violence. It's so freaking sad. That's why I have absolutely no problem with distancing and disassociating myself from my collective and large. No thanks. I'm done. Next. Well, tell us how you really feel. And, I also like something that Charleston said. He says that, and I hope I don't mess this up, but he basically saying that Black people aren't his people. He says, I'm looking for my kind. Right. And I was like, okay, I like that. Not necessarily saying that you don't want to be with Black people. He says, but I'm looking for my kind. The people who think like me, who are on the same trajectory, who are doing the same things in life, who see the needs of the community and that need to be fixed. Not people who are just want. Because he says, I got boots to the ground. Like, I'm really out here doing this in real life, and all of that. So he says, I'm looking for my kind. And I was like, I like that. I really do. But very interesting guy. I mean, just really interesting. All right. And so let's see here. Marcella, you said you cooking, by the way. What did you say you was cooking again? He says men are to female today. Says I look at a man, I think, on how they cross their legs. I remember when men didn't cross like women. I think that's what you're trying to say. I know some men who cross their legs. I don't necessarily have an issue with that, because honestly, from what I understand, nobody should be crossing their legs because it cuts off your circulation and all that other stuff. So I get what you're saying. Now, if they Saucy Santana crossing their legs and, then yeah, you might want to raise an eyebrow on that. But the crossing the legs of a man, I know men, if they traditionally cross their legs, they'll put their leg on top of their thigh, but they don't cross it all the way over. But I don't have a problem with that. I should say they took home economics out of school as soon as I became the age to take the class. Yeah, I took home economics. I took it in I think it was middle school. I took it. So I wasn't even in high school. It was middle school. I'm trying to think, did I even take it in elementary? But definitely middle school. I learned how to sew. I learned how to, cook like just different things. I know how to make donuts using biscuits. I do, I learned that in home economics.
That is so demeaning that women job is reduced to cooking and folding clothes and teaching them this servitude type stuff. See, this is where it kind of went off the rails. When you let the few feminists out there lead the majority of the people in the wrong direction, this is where we get to where we're at. When I was in high school, women couldn't even get into home economics because all the jocks, we were all in there cooking and roasting and doing. We were making Demetra, lasagna, spaghetti, roasts. We were just gourmeting it up. And in my school in Okinawa, the girls were complaining because they were like, well, this is like kind of a woman's field and you got all these guys coming into it and stuff. And we were only there because we were hungry in the morning, to do what we got to do. So, but my biggest point is, in every aspect of society, we have this small group that speaks for the majority, and we've got to start shunning those people. We really do.
Yes, it will. Yeah. Phillips a flathead. I know the difference between a flathead and I call it like a star. That's how I know the difference. I mean, hell, a butter knife will do the job depending on what it is. I have used a butter knife before, but anyway, I digress. Okay. Did you see that Facts Not Feelings? He told you to, God bless you and take advantage of all the voluptuousness that's going on in the DR. Anyway, Michael said, Donovan, please don't encourage people from DR to come to America because the dream is dead. It's better to build the American dream in the DR. Thanks. I'm here to tell you as a Black American that it's not, okay? I would not be building nothing in the DR. Of course, y'all know that I was nearly kidnapped. My daughter and I, when we went to the DR, was it 2022? I think it was. Yeah, 2022. I was nearly kidnapped. It was a harrowing experience. They're gonna make a Lifetime movie of the week about it.
Well, I'm kind of glad you guys brought that up because Demetra does not have to worry about coming to the DR anymore. We just opened a chapter of the International No Ma'am organization, and she has been banned from coming to the DR moving forward?
I got operatives over there. I don't need to be there. We got Zoom. You know what I'm saying? We can meet over Zoom and I tell them exactly what to do, who you are, and all of that. Okay. So don't worry about me. I'll never step foot in the DR, myself. Willie says a lot of these females make bad judgment calls. I agree with that. But can I ask y'all fellas this? Why some of y'all got to be bad judgment calls? Why y'all can't be better judgment calls? You know what I mean?
I agree with him in the aspect of what he's kind of actually saying. Young women make bad judgment calls because when you got a little bit of experience on your better, when you know better, you do better. I have, most of your Ray Ray and Pookie people, they picked that dude when they were young and inexperienced. And that's just, the way I see it. Because I said, when I see women my age or even in their 30s, they've been there, done that. So they've kind of learned from that. At least they're supposed to.
Right. Michael, you say what we fail to factor in as that parents commute to work 30 hours per week one way. Yeah. Traffic does impact their mental health and emotional status. By the time that parent gets home, they are exhausted. Yeah, I totally agree with that. That commute is a mother, right? And so, not to mention, you have to leave early, a couple hours to get to work, because a lot of people aren't fortunate enough to work in their own city and have a good job in their own city, especially if you live in California. You got to commute to another city that's probably an hour away. And then, God forbid, any freeway in California, you're going to spend some time on, especially if you leave during rush hour. So then several hours later, after you've clocked out, right, you're sitting on the 91, the 60, the 405, or whatever, and you're just crawling. And by the time you get home, you got to make some dinner. You got to make sure the children, their homework and everything. You got a lot of stuff to do. And then by that time, you don't even really get no me time. The me time is when you go to bed at night, close your eyes, and then guess what? Ring! You got to get up and do it all over again for at least 5 days a week. So back then, when I was coming up, the mom was able to stay home, right? That was her job. But now, not so much. In our generation, when I say I mean Donovan and I, that was the emergence of the latchkey kid, which meant that the child had their own key to enter into the house because the mom was no longer in the home. For whatever reason, she was at work, right? The mom didn't welcome the children home and, hey, I baked some cookies for you. Change out of your school clothes, get some clothes on, and come sit at the table with these milk and cookies and do your homework. That was missing, so...
But let me add to that, though, Michael. I agree with you in the aspect of, yeah, it sucks. But the thing is, what's more important to you, the nurturing of your children or this job? If I was in a situation like that, I'm just saying me personally, I would move to where it's less expensive and, make the real big sacrifice so that my kids will have my wife and myself abundance. When I see people talking about, the commute, my job or whatever, you're commuting to that job because of the money you can make. And I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. But hey, that's a choice you made. You chose a job over the welfare of your children. And I'm not here to judge anybody what you want to do. But the point is, there are a lot of other cheaper places you could move and raise your children in the environment that you want to raise them. But for some reason, even to this very day, you've got people that will live homeless in the streets in California right now so that they can say they live in California. Cut and dry.
Yeah, and I had totally hear what you were saying, as far as, women deciding to work and stay home. Well, we know you got to have another, income unless you work from home or something like that in order to do that. But that's just not the case for a lot of people. And especially now with these corporations having this big push to get people back in the office so they can crack the whip over them and they can make sure they're working when obviously it's easier for people to work from home. So that's going to, even get it worse. But again, especially if it's a single mom, she doesn't have that other income nor the choice to say, unless she's staying on the system. So it's like a, catch-22. I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. And either way, the child is probably going to suffer. You know what I mean? So, hey, Arson, how are you? All right. So let's see here. Brother Jonelle, how are you today? And let's see, your average logical thinker says, me and my sister watch ourselves for 3 hours before mom got home every weekday. And how old were you at the time? Because that's true for a lot of children, especially during the latchkey kid generation, I guess. A lot of children just let themselves in at very young ages, right? And of course, don't open the door for nobody. Don't turn on the stove. Don't do this. Don't do that. Just sit down, turn the TV on, and do your homework, right? You got those instructions because they didn't want you to be running around and hurt yourself or burn up the house or something like that because they weren't there to supervise you. And Donnie said the Rockefeller stole that from us. And I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. Maybe talking to somebody else. And Ebony says, Donovan, that is their land. They are indigenous to California. They will not leave. So you're speaking in regards to Black people. Yeah, I mean, I'm a Californian, born and raised in California. So, but I do agree with Donovan. It's very expensive to live in California. I don't know how people are doing it unless you are living with a bunch of other people, which a lot of people are doing, or you're living in very, very, very shabby accommodations. And that's even expensive. You know, I don't even know if you can rent unless it's a room, and even the rooms there are, you know, up into the thousands for a room, right? As I tell you guys, my daughter went to San Francisco State, and what, 2016 or so, give or take, I don't know. And she was paying $1,100 for a room. You know, she had to share a bathroom, and it had like a kitchenette, and she had to pay $1,100 a month for that. So imagine what it is now. So anybody's living in California, you got 15 jobs, you know, you shack it up with some other people, or you're not living that well. It's like from borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, and it's a lot. So yeah, moving south, which I get it, okay. It's not optimal, but moving south, it's a lot less expensive. But it's, if you're from a place like California, it's an adjustment.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. A lot of people stay here. When Dimitri and I were coming up and stuff, when you said you lived in California, it meant something. Like, wow, you're in the Golden State, all the stars. You know, it was a status type thing. Now, when you tell people you live in California, it's like, oh damn, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Do you need any help? You know what I mean? And unfortunately, a lot of us stay here because of the lifestyle it is. You know, I'm not saying, you know, we're supposed to sacrifice for our families, right? And I would say this to a lot of women. If you love your children so much, why do you stay and raise them in a negative environment? Let's say like the hood or the ghetto. Move them out of there as soon as you can. But yet they do, and it's an oxymoron. So, you know, when I see people who, if you look at reality and you look at your finances, you look at your mental health, you look at your children and the structure of the family. If your family is really that important to you, you're going to sacrifice and go to South Carolina where you can afford to live and do what you got to do, and maybe even start over. A lot of people do that. I don't know why everybody's talking about, well, let's go to Atlanta. That makes no sense because Atlanta's expensive as well, as everybody went over there. But you got people that are moving to Idaho, you know, just places that you would never thought they would live because financially it makes sense and they spend time with their families. Do you guys realize here in the Dominican Republic and a lot of developing countries, they spend 75% of their time with their families. So that means they only spend about a quarter of the time working for the man. What's more important?
Yeah, and that's how it is actually in a lot of countries. You know, they have better home quality life, if you will, you know, quality of life at home. Michael said, Demetria, do you feel more happy living in Texas because there are more Blacks in that state than California? I should say, admittedly, I don't go out much. I do go out, you know, to essential places and, you know, a concert or something here and there. I don't go out much. I do enjoy seeing a plethora of Black people. As you said, in California, is not a whole lot. I think Black people are less than 6%, somewhere around the lower 5%. So yeah, I enjoy that aspect, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm a California girl at heart. So there's a lot of things that I miss. I like to, as anybody who knows me, I like to hike. And so I would do that sometimes every day, you know, because we have mountains everywhere, right? So I like to hike. It was my thing, you know, and I'm a nature person. Out here, I ain't a nature person so much because I've seen some snakes and, you know, sidewalks. There's a lot of, you know, the weather. It's, you know, so I miss California really, because of that. And obviously all of my friends and family are in California. So I do miss California and just the weather, right? I don't care where you live in the United States, nothing is going to beat California. You're not. And especially where Donovan and I live. We were, an hour from Los Angeles, an hour from the mountains. Donovan's closer, but for me, there's about an hour to Palm Springs, give or take. San Diego, about a 2-hour drive. Vegas, a 3-hour drive. So we're at the beach. We're right there. So nothing was too far. And that's
every environment you want, you just needed a car to get there. And you're within about a 4-hour spectrum. You can go to any environment.
Yeah, and so that's why, like, a lot of times out here when people say, "Oh, that's kind of far," I'm like, "Well, where is such and such? That's far." Well, how far is it? It's about 45 minutes. I'm like, that's far? I thought you was talking like, a 2-day drive or something. Yeah, Don, it was like, back in the day, before the latchkey kid, the Leave It to Beaver, my 3 sons life, right? Oh, hi, sweetheart, welcome home. And the pot roast is in the oven, just, relax. That kind of stuff, right? And then you got home, it was like, make your peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So your mama got home. And Bountiful Roots, how are you? Says Demetri, once you get your channel built, you can move back to Cali. Yeah, I think it's going to take a little bit more than the channel, but that would definitely help, right? Because as people always say, come home, come home. My dad especially is like, come back home or whatever. Donovan's always like, when you come back home, you ain't leaving again. So I've heard that from everybody. But when I go back, I don't want to have to be struggling like you. Yelling in my bank account, hello, 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 hello. There's an echo in there, because it's expensive to live in California. So no, definitely there's things that I'm working on. I don't mind the South as much, but yeah, I'm a California girl. Ebony says, if you leave the land, you need to trust those who are still on it to maintain it. You don't lose or give up ground, you gain. Okay. And Easy, you say too many Cali folks in Texas and Atlanta, but you know what though? A lot of people from California are moving back. They're like, this was cute for a minute, until the thunder and the lightning, the flooding and the lights going on and off, and all the other stuff that we're not used to seeing in California. It's like, okay, let's load up the wagon. We're heading back.
Kind of reminds me of being here in a developing country, where nothing's reliable,
Yeah. Will, you say, come again, Demetri, banned from the DR? Maybe heard wrong. Back to subject though. There is a delay with the smart TV and cell phone. And it's an unofficial ban. I actually banned myself, okay? As I said, I was almost kidnapped in the DR along with my daughter, all right? And Donovan said I am banned because they have changed. They're changing the way Sasua, the stroll, operates in Dominican Republic. The Sasua is the stroll where the girls are plenty in there. Hey, Poppy. Hey, Poppy. How you doing, Poppy? You want a good time, Poppy? And so the government officials are like, enough. And I might have put a little bug in their ear, a couple of letters here and there. I might or might not have. But more than anything, I can tell Donovan, don't be mad at me. Be mad at your homeboys for going out there, doing upskirt videos and all that other stuff for the ladies. And then, the officials there in all these foreign countries are like, wait a minute, they coming here to do what? They treating our women like trampolines. Oh no, we got to shut it down. You know what I'm saying? So
right, and then you got to think of the State Department where you got Americans talking about, I'm stuck in the DR, cash at me, and they're at the airport. So.
Harmony and peace and tranquility. How you doing? Says, wow, I didn't recognize Donovan without his hat. He is rocking it, ain't he? Just as shiny as ever. Like a milk dud. You just want to take a bite out of it.
What was that song? I believe in miracles.
Yes. He looked like a emaciated Isaac Hayes, don't he? The average logical thinker says it's not even cheaper to live in the South like before. It's not.
And the funny thing is, a lot of the problems in the South now is because California people are flooding these areas, and a $300,000 home in Texas is nothing to a California person. So when Texas people were used to getting homes 150,000, maybe 175, and what Californians are doing are driving the prices up because we're so used to the median income of a house, not income, but the median value of a house in California. The median, that means the average house in California, is $800,000. $800,000.
Yeah.
That means everybody in California that owns a house is practically a millionaire. How can you compete down from you're in the South?
Yeah, because I see some houses out here like $400,000. I'm like, that's it for all that house. I mean, like for real, you know. But easy, you say, come on, D, conquer your fear of them snakes. More afraid of you, and Cali have snakes on them trails. Yeah, I've seen the snakes on the trails, but I want to say when you see a snake on the trail, and I probably honestly have seen more snakes on the hiking trails because I used to go out there a lot than out here, but it ain't really all that normal. But out here in Texas, snakes are plenty, right? I told y'all that my daughter had a diamondback rattler climb up under the carriage of her car, and she just happened to see it. We were at a gas station, and we saw this. She saw the snake, and she says, "Mom, look under the car and tell me what you see." And I was like, "Is that a snake?" And it was a snake. And a diamondback rattler is a deadly snake. Now, my brother had a rental property, Airbnb property in Conroe. That's where it is, and it's a lot of land and all that out there. So we were there, and we assumed that it climbed in the car, underneath the car that way. And these guys, they got the snake out. It was really just a harrowing ordeal. I like that word today, harrowing. Like it was just danger. So these brothers, we were like, they saw us kind of freaking out. They was like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "It's a snake under the car." So he looked, and he was like, "Oh my God, it's a snake." Then another brother looked, and they was like, "It's a snake." So all of us are freaking out. And he was like, "Oh my God." He says, "Well, I'm afraid of snakes, but I'll get the snake if you want me to." And I was like, "Well, if you're afraid, don't do it." But he's like, "Well, I'll do it." So he's trying to kind of figure out how he's going to do it. And then this white guy, drives up, Crocodile Dundee or whatever. He drives up, and he's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "There's a snake under the car." And he looks, he goes, "It sure is a snake." And he goes in his truck, and he gets some hook, and he wiggles the snake out. And it's a pretty big snake. And the snake is trying to go back under the car by screaming and stuff. Then a guy from the gas station, he comes out with a knife, and he just cuts his head off. And they go throw the snake over the thing. And I was like, oh my God. This is stuff that you read about, like you see on social media. You never think it'd happen to you. And so I was very grateful. I said, "Can I buy y'all some gas? Can I buy you a house? Like, what can I do for you for doing that?" And I've been freaked out ever since. I have. So you also say, D, Cali is going to be floating island soon. You good where you at? Trust me. Yeah, that's what they've been saying that since I was a baby. California is going to break off into the ocean. And it looks like it might be getting close to doing that because, of course, California is waiting for the big one, which is the giant earthquake that's supposed to just like demolish it all. So we'll see. Willie say, "So y'all was almost taken." I wouldn't go back. No, for real. Like, no lie. It was almost snatched up in the DR. Okay. Because I'm Black. Honestly, because
in the DR, if you are Haitian, they are snatching them up, and they're building a wall. They're literally building a wall to separate the countries so the Haitians don't come over the border. Sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it, you guys? They're building a wall to stop illegal migration. Sounds familiar, huh?
Yeah. So, they didn't like, they thought me and my daughter were black, like Black, Haitian Black. And I say that with that emphasis because, if you've ever seen a Dominican, they look Black, but for some reason they singled us out to not be like them, I guess. Yeah, they were going to throw us in jail, in deportation, like a truck on jail on wheels. And then some lady ran across the street. "They're Americans, leave them alone." And of course, they heard us speak. I'm from the West Coast, whatever. So they was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, they not Haitian or whatever." But I was freaked out forever. We had 2 days before we left. And I was like, I just can't wait to leave. I was so upset. I'm like, first of all, you put your hands on me and my daughter, first of all. And when I saw the truck drive by, it just like tore me up because I saw Haitians in the back of that truck. Like, Hades is next door, really,
And
So
it's a cane truck that they put you in. It has like a cage in it. I mean, it looked like a slave truck. You know what I mean? It's something out of that you would think out of Roots or something back in the bygone era. I mean, and you see these black people in there, and you can see in their eyes they're afraid or whatever they're doing. It's very inhumane, how they do that.
yeah, I cried for a little bit. I was very upset. It just broke me because it's like, gosh, these people are Dominican. They look black. I know they don't think they're black, but you have Haitians who, if you know anything about Haiti, they have been destabilized. There's a lot going on. So of course they flee from destruction in their own country, and then they go to another country and they get treated that way. Like a lot of them, if they don't have their papers, passport or whatever, they're in hiding and they're on the run, and then they get snatched literally off the streets, and treated that way. So I was like, okay, you know what? It's enough DR for me. Okay, I'm ready to go. But your average logical thinker says, I keep hearing news that if the interest rates are cut 6 times in 2024, that will be really bad for housing market. I don't understand how, because a lot of people bought their houses at super high interest rates. The housing was inflated. And so if they get cut, a lot of people are going to be upside down in their houses. So that's kind of part of it.
Yeah, and where the interest rate is right now at 8%, who can afford to buy a house unless you got the money already, which is another reason some of our people who keep talking about, oh, well, you're never going to get reparations, whatever. This is the reason why we need it for our people. We don't have the money. They're making it to we're already a permanent underclass. But those are people that keep talking about, oh, we're never going to get it. You need to join the picket line and make sure and stomp that we get reparations, because for a lot of us, that's the only way you're ever going to be able to buy a house.
And the snake was it. I mean, in relation to a snake, it was pretty big. I would say it was probably like that. A snake that big is too big for me. But they cut the head off and killed it because they're like, well, that's kind of rare, I guess, around these parts, and it's deadly. So they didn't want it to, to throw it back and then it come back into, civilization. So I know they didn't cook it that I know of. I saw them cut off the head, and the guy threw its body somewhere. I don't know. Was freaked out for a very long time. Let's see here. Well, he says California is beautiful country. He says politics. Oh, it's very beautiful.
Yeah, but Dion, I think I know where you're going with the politics. Who controls California and is destroying it? Democrats.
Yeah. Did y'all see that debate between Gavin Newsom and DeSantis? I don't know why they were even having a debate. I guess they just wanted to kind of, go on mono to mono. And y'all say I like my blazer. I got this from the thrift store. Y'all know I like to find me some coats up at the thrift store. So yeah, that's what this is. All right, so you're saying that's a normal day in the life of East Texas. So you're talking about snakes. My neighbors, they have a lot of cats, and I'm not a cat person, but I'm like, sure, come in my yard, do whatever you like, because I know that they're chasing away snakes and all that other stuff. And my daughter said about a month ago, she saw one of the cats playing with a snake like by their house. I'm like, this is too much. Okay, so let's see here. Your average logical thinker, you say self-hate transcends all of the diaspora. Unfortunately, it really does, And Easy says, D, because of all the development going on, disturbing their areas, causing mass disruption of the snake habitat is causing these encounters in abnormal areas. Yeah, I would imagine so. That particular area in Conroe it's been there for a while, so it wasn't nothing new, but maybe somewhere else the snake got on the run or something, but it was just the oddest things. It was so odd and creepy, Brother Janelle, you say Django going to mines, type vehicle. Let's see here. Hello, Pamela. How are you doing? Well, we're glad that you enjoyed listening. Let's see here. I'm just gonna skip down a little bit. Yes, Dia, we need reparations ASAP. Facts Not Feeling says that sounds like a horrific experience in the DR. The risk of Black nation heavily armed and tasked with defending the Blacks on cold all over the world is long overdue. Absolutely. Yeah. It was scary because it's like, well, what are we doing here? For real, we're standing on the corner waiting for our Uber. So we weren't doing anything, I guess, out of the ordinary. And there was a lot of activity going on in the area because we were at the beach. So we were getting ready to leave the beach or whatever, standing there chit chatting. I was directly on the corner, anticipating the Uber to pull up, and my daughter was next to me, Donovan, and then his lady friend. So we're all talking or whatever. And I saw at the corner of my eye this truck, but I didn't think anything of it, right? Until I got boxed in by a man and a woman who were working for, I guess, the Department of Deportation or whatever it is. And he says, "Where's your passport?" And so before I could even like recollect what was going on, he grabbed my arm. And then somebody else grabbed my daughter's arm, and then it's like all these agents just boxed us in. I don't know, for whatever reason they thought Donovan was maybe Dominican and his girlfriend or his lady friend was Dominican, and we were Haitian, and they just boxed us in. Like it was just all happened so fast. And again, the lady ran across the street and was like, "Leave them alone. They're Americans." And the guy kind of had a look of shock, like, "Oh, all right, oh, sorry, have a nice day," type of thing. It wasn't even all of that, but it just happened really so fast. It was crazy. Let's see here. El Sanchez, how you doing? It says good evening to you, Demetria. Donovan is having a lot of fun in the DR. How long before you come back? No glasses is something I want to bring up. I'm noticing something that's very bizarre.
I wonder what we're noticing that's very bizarre. Oh, I got a smile on my face? I'm outside the United States. I'm outside the United States. Put it like this. Demetria will tell you, when men come to the Dominican Republic, we don't like mad dog each other, not like that. We fist bump, we hug, we sit down, we pray together. It's just a beautiful thing out here. I mean, it's paradise. It's nice.
Easy, you say how how much is gas in Cali? I think it's roughly around 6. Is that the case, Donovan? On average?
Just before I left, I saw Arco went down to $4.38, but that's selective Arcos. If you want the good gas that won't shutter your car, like at Chevron or Shell or something like that, you're looking at $6.35 or something like that.
Yeah, Arco's typically cheaper. The arson, you say it's not just Cali people flooding the South. In Florida, I have seen. Are you in Florida now? You said I have seen the change. Lots of people from New York City and New Jersey went. Now house prices are up. So where are the places to go? Yeah, that's true. Even from California, they're going to Florida as well, per that of Ron DeSantis. But again, people in California are like, they say a lot of Californians go back. Like, I don't care what I got to do. I'm going back home. It's
a different culture, it's a different culture. And a lot of people in Atlanta, you're hearing Atlians complaining that the people from New York and Philadelphia are now coming down there and changing the demographics down there as well. And they're having problems with the culture and the street life going on down there. So.
Yeah, in fact, my feelings, you're right about the snake in the head. So the guy cut the head off the snake. He stabbed the head, and they did what they had to do with it. But oof. El Sanchez says, Demetria, Donovan, why does it seem like everybody is jumping on these podcasts speaking disrespectful things against Black people because we're not voicing our opinion? We're not supporting the war? Because just what you said, the answer is in the question. We are abstaining because it is not our issue. We are paying attention. As I said, we're paying attention to what's going on. Even I heard that Yemen got involved today. Y'all can go read about that. But it's not our issue. Black Americans have our own issues. And of course, as our brother Phil talks about often, people not even just regarding the war, but everybody else, they're missing the input of Black Americans because normally we're there with boots on the ground and everybody else's situation, but we are learning to abstain and fight the temptation and resist going to, help put out everybody else's fire. We're saying, you know what? Our house has been burning for a very long time. Let us focus on putting our fire out, and the other communities, they're really noticing, hey, Black people, they're really absent from all that's going on. It was like, yeah, we were learning. So.
Yeah, and you got to remember that jumping in the fire to help everybody else, that was a civil rights era generation. You've got 3 generations since the civil rights era that are looking at what is going on and saying, wait a minute, we're always helping them, but when we need issues and help, nobody's there for us. So it's smart now that we're realizing we have this power, and of course they want us to jump in there and do help them. But Jesus Christ, in our faces, the Democratic Party has been attacking us and showing us, oh, we're going to bring these people into this country illegally. We're going to give them all the support and everything that they need to be successful, but we won't do a damn thing for Black people. That really woke people up, because if you've been watching the protests in Chicago, some of those older people some of them are civil rights era people. These people have now woken up like, this absolutely is not right. The only problem I have with those people in Chicago is I believe you need to stop clarifying you're not anti-migrant. Your actions show you're not anti-migrant. You're standing up for your people. We got to stop trying to apologize or make it a little bit easier to, making it, to why we're not standing up to these people. I don't have to talk about I'm not anti-migrant. My actions show that I'm not. I'm not out there attacking people like that. So we got to stop bowing down and trying to be nice with these people. Let's just keep our opinions to ourselves, like we've been doing, and they can see what our stance is. Our actions show how we feel. So yeah.
Yeah, and I do hear a lot of people saying that, oh, it's nothing against the migrants. And me personally, I don't have a problem with that, because I think sometimes maybe it is kind of important to preface it that way. I don't have anything against the migrants, because people will just interpret it, oh, you're being hateful. So just to get that out the way, listen, this ain't got nothing to do with them. I get it. They're fleeing from whatever they're fleeing from, and there's an open door. They're going to come over here, right? So can you necessarily even blame them? But we do blame the politicians, especially the Democrats that we as Black people put in office year after year after year to thumb their noses at us, and they go and they help everybody else. And so, yeah, nothing against y'all. Our issue is with the people who are allowing y'all to do that. So, and Michael, you say, Demetri and Donovan, is Atlanta becoming like LA, New York, etc.? I heard, I haven't been to Atlanta recently. I've only actually gone through Atlanta. I've been to Georgia because my mom was, born in Valdosta. So I've been there, obviously, but to Atlanta, I heard that it's becoming like, I heard it's like Black Hollywood, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. Norris, how are you doing? He says, first time I've seen the natural Donovan, looks cool. Yeah, he's on vacation mode, I've seen something about that. Juliana Margulies, she publicly apologized when she said that basically we need to get involved with her community's issue. And then, we gave her the silent treatment, and I'm sure she heard, from other people and thought, oh, okay, well, yeah, that's wrong. If there's been, what's his name?
Michael Rappaport
talking about they taking names. It's like, what's new? Y'all making a list. What's new? Facts Not Feeling says, is it important for Blacks to pay attention to what's going on? I'm sorry. It's important for Blacks to pay attention to what's going on over there, because our tax dollars are being used to genocide others, and many other people doing the crimes also have U.S. Citizenship in the U.S. So listen, that I agree with 100%. I do. But listen, our tax dollars go to fund the popo and everything else that we do not benefit from. Okay. So I say that to say, not that I'm saying that we should not be paying attention to it, but we shouldn't say, okay, well, now we really need to pay attention because our tax dollars are going over there. And there's genocide going over there. But guess what? There's been genocide with Black people. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying this about you, Facts Not Feelings, but why should we be more? And listen, this is why I have to preface it. I'm not saying we don't have compassion for what's going on in other parts of the world, but there's been a Black genocide since we've been brought over here, or, put into slavery. And even to this day, Black people are experiencing a genocide. And so what makes their issues more important than ours? Keeping in mind, our tax dollars go everywhere that does not benefit us, especially to police salaries. We essentially pay them to do what they do to us. So you see what I'm saying? Let's focus at home and think about what's going on abroad.
Right. And then let me just add to that. That there is a systematic system still in place against Black people using our tax dollars, when you have 50% of the homeless in the United States that's Black, and we so-called are less than 25. I'm going to go with a high number. We're 25% of the population, but yet we're more than 50% of the homeless population. So that tells you right there is a financial genocide to put us in a permanent subservient position to where we cannot overcome that.
Yeah, Moni, it was 75 on the high today. It seemed like it was cold in my house, but right now it's 66 or 64. Yesterday it was in like the mid 60s, which is nice, because you get to wear your winter clothes and all of that, because we had an excruciatingly hot summer. So it's quite.
This morning it was 83 degrees on the beach.
I'd flip you the bird, but then I didn't get in trouble. Damon, how are you? Positive vibes to the chat, Miss K and Donovan. Yes, indeed. He is over there in the DR, the Diara. Okay, he's in the Diara. Ebony says, how are we hateful and you are being colonial? They also say, and they can't come as they are hearing we say no, so they're crossing us. No qualifying, okay. So maybe you're speaking to somebody else. And Michael, you say, Demetri and Donovan, please don't get involved with Juliana Margulies because she needs to face her own problems in the Jewish community. Yeah, I ain't even thinking about her at all. I saw it and I was like, all right, okay. Then that's kind of just where I left it. So again, not saying that we're not compassionate, but as Farrakhan always says, you study history. They say that in the nation. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, study history. When you study history, you know that both parties or people in the Middle East and what's going on over there have enslaved Black people. And in some parts of the country, and listen, I'm not saying this is an excuse to endure what they're enduring. I'm just kind of putting something out there, especially in Libya. There's whole cell slavery, human trafficking, and every other trafficking you can think of. And guess who's doing it? Arabs. Again, I'm not saying that's an excuse for what's going on, but when we know, you know what I mean? Again, we got our own burning building to take care of. Facts Not Feelings says, my concern is those people who are doing it wrong over there will come here and do the same to us like they're doing over there. I agree, our issues come first, but watch those people with a side eye. Brother, and I love you dearly. They already here doing that. Where you think the police department in the United States gets their training from? Who do you think is, in running the government and a whole lot of other stuff? They already here. Case in point, Kanye said what he said, and they here. You know what I mean? So there's nothing new here. But I get what you're saying completely. I get it. Moni says, I never seen nothing like this before in my life. Donovan, Demetri, you get to see the real racism coming out of these people with calling us out of our names, I think, when they should be fired for being racist. Absolutely. Brother Jonelle, you say, yet we can't get reparations, but they surely can fund not only foreign genocide, but the one majority of us are oblivious to here in America, aka Israel. Absolutely. Like I said, of course, I know, Brother Jonelle, when you know. Easy said, Donovan, you must fly to DR on a government plane. He better not. Our right Uncle Sam, he better not get his tail on no government plane I got to pay for. Let's see here. I think Donovan's got a little bit of a delay. Let me skip down. Will you say Atlanta is most definitely becoming Holly weird? Yeah, I've heard. This is pretty strange times going on over there. And also saying that, some of the men, if you will, are migrating to Texas. And you see a lot of that here, actually. You see a lot of saucy Santanaing. I figured he was having some connection issues, but he'll be back. You see a lot of salsa Santanaing going on over here. And I hear a lot of ladies in the Atlanta area say, yeah, you got to be careful. Because, especially too in Houston, they say it's the STDs are on. STDs are on the rise. It's one of the most infected places in the nation is in Houston. So be careful out there. Donovan will be back. I know he was freezing up a little bit. Facts Not Feeling says that's correct. Arabs are treating Africans horribly. In North Africa, Sudan, and other places. And even in Palestine, I heard that the Black Palestinians were being treated horribly as well. So I don't know. Yes, Moni, you say, what about the genocide that's going on right now today in the Congo that they don't want nobody to focus on? And the same people that want you to pick a side of Israel does nothing for the Black community. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And they have been enduring that forever, right? Especially within the last 25 years. They said about, 6 million people? Don't quote me, have been, deleted, for lack of better words, for YouTube language. Simply for the cobalt, the material that they use to put in laptops, phones, even the vape pens, and a whole host of other things. People of the Congo, they're dying. Even children as young as 2, and as they said too, even when they learn how to walk, they put them in the fields and the mines to search for the cobalt. So we need to, if we're going to focus on our people. Now, I know some people take exception to what I said. In Africa, let's, or in a different country, let's focus on them. There's genocide going on over there. There's, a war and a whole host of other things. So you're right, Moni. Let's see here. Third, Coast McQueen, how are you doing? He says he could catch a military hop if they have a flight going that way. Oh, yeah, Donovan's no stranger to catching military flights. He'll get on one in a heartbeat. He was in Hawaii not too long ago, although he was having an issue getting back. So that was kind of frustrating. But while he was over there, he had a good time. Brother Jonell, you saying the truth is the truth, and we need to face it, speak it, and deal intelligently with those who oppose the truth, because the change we need, and that's truly our salvation, is in God, who is the truth, which will set us free. Absolutely. Let's see here. Moni, you say this is the first time everyone in the Black community, we are on board. We're not getting involved with things that don't concern our well-being, and it's being felt across the planet. Stay on code. Yep, totally agree with you. It's looking real good for Black people, especially Black Americans. We are on code. We finally are waking up. We're finally saying, this political system that we have been engaging in is not for us. Other people's issues are not our issues. We have our own issues that everybody else chooses to ignore. And for first time in a long time, we're going to choose not to ignore our own issues. Easy says, D, I do believe it's rising, but media spread fear and lies to our community. Yeah. And that's another thing too. Come away from mainstream media. I don't watch the news. It's rare that I do. Like if I'm bored and I'm like, what's going on in the world like that? I'll turn it on, for half an hour or so as I'm getting ready or something like that. But I don't stay in tune to the news, because I know it does pump a lot of fear, which is also why it's important that if you guys haven't already, go over to africandiasporanews.org and invest in the app, because you're going to get some real good stories over there. Y'all going to get it, a little bit more or less unbridled, I guess, less bridled, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. We can be at liberty to say what we need to say without, having to switch words around and all that other stuff. And so it's really next to nothing to make the investment, because the more we have of y'all over there on africandiasporanews.org, then the less time we'll spend on other people's platforms worried about being censored or canceled or, demonetized and all that stuff, right? So again, africandiasporanews.org. And you'll thank me later. You'll be glad that you did it. Okay, so let's see here. Willie saying people need to check that CDC webpage for the STD HIV info across the country after you might not shake a person's hand. Oh, trust me. Like I said, I went to dental assisting school and I was taught to treat everybody like they have HIV AIDS, right? If they said treat it as it's a universal thing, because a lot of times people will say, oh, well, he looks healthy. She looks good. She don't look like she got nothing. I ain't seen her scratching when she ain't supposed to be itching. So she looks good, right? But those be the ones that's like, aha, surprise, But that just really speaks to also not being so freely with your body, Stop jumping into bed with everything because it's cute, or it has a big booty. Will you say we shouldn't be following the footsteps of lifestyle rich and famous? A dream never meant for us. Yeah. And as Dr. Claude Anderson says, Black people were the American dream, right? Everybody else got their American dream on the backs of our ancestors. So, let's keep it a buck. Harmony and peace, tranquility says, my nieces are refusing to vote for the Democratic parties. They said the Democrats and GOP are both racist and they haven't passed any policies to protect the African-American community, hate crime bills, etc. See, they are waking up, and we are waking up from all walks of life, all age groups, right? I'll tell you, I know a lot of younger people, my nieces and nephews, my daughter, and a lot of other young people I know, they're flat out saying, hey, I'll vote for Trump. I'm not voting for Biden. Especially the younger generation. They don't have, they never had a chance really to get anything, right? Home ownership or a good foundation due to the economy, just a whole lot of things, high student loan debt. And so they're like, well, as Trump said, my African Americans, what do you have to lose? So a lot of Black voters are starting to say, well, he's right. What do we have to lose? They said in 2020, Trump saw about 8% of Black voters, but now if the election would be were to be held today, he would get roughly anywhere between 22 and 26% of the Black vote, which is significant. So, and it's a year away to the national election, so things could change. Thank you, Moni. Thank you so much. You also say none of these people having sister on qualified immunity being in the, I think your comment cut off. Your average logical thinker, you say, my cousin who is Sunni Muslim told me today that he's been to Gaza and those people have endured way more than any Black people have, according to what he saw. I may have to disown him. Ooh. Oh my goodness. So let's see here. Moni say none of these people have insisted on qualified immunity being taken off. None of these people have fought hard to make a law against police brutality where every officer will get an automatic 50 years. Yeah, and they'll have to pay for it out of their pocket. So yeah, we haven't even heard anything about that anymore, right? They gave us this watered down George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, and we haven't heard much about it since. We haven't heard anything about reparations on a national level. HR 40 would happen to that. So they're not interested, as Brother Phil talked about on his podcast. And if you guys aren't following that podcast that he does every night on the Philip Scott, I think it's Audio Experience, you should be, because he's given a lot of information. But he talked about how the Democratic Party have just moved on from Black people. On their website, they don't even talk about Black people anymore. They're talking about migrants and what they want to do and what they're doing. So they're not even, I think they just think, well, we already got Black people. They're, whether we do anything for them or not, they're still going to vote for us. So they're still taking us for granted. Yes, we definitely should make our own path. And Marcella, you say, I remember in one of the Minister Farrakhan's speeches, there you go, speeches that he said, what is everything that you have learned? He said, what is everything that you learned? I think it been a lie. Now it's coming out. Everything that we have learned was a lie. Oh yeah, definitely. He hasn't been wrong. Elijah Muhammad either. Brother Jonell says facts. Black Palestinians, which the root of Palestine, are oppressed. The Congo, the Sudan, the Libyan slave trade by the Arabs, and what we deal with here in America, as Bob Marley sung, everywhere is war. It's mainly the colonizers that still colonizing against we who are fighting to be fully decolonized for humanity, to be under the truth and true freedom, justice, and equality, real peace. Absolutely. So again, when you know, you know. Welcome back, Donovan. Sagittarius Goddess, how are you doing today? And Willie says, I've been watching these researchers right here on YouTube. Yep. Brother Jonell says those foreign here in America is thriving off of MLK and Rosa Parks, mainly our Black struggle for civil rights and justice. Yep. They benefit more from it than we ever have, right? That we've never, what do we get? Like Donovan said, we got to go have seasonless soup, in their businesses and leave live next door to them. That's what we got, right? Destabilizing our own communities and businesses and all of that. And that's all we have to show for it. And now the areas that we did have, they're being gentrified, can hardly ever, even live there. So everybody else, the civil rights work for them. So you're right.
And then you're dropping the migrants. Everybody else gets dropped into our community first. And then they do better than us 5 years out the box. And then, we're the ones patronizing their stores, patronizing their businesses. We don't even patronize our own businesses. But again, you got these illegals coming in, and where do the Democrat leadership puts them? In the Black neighborhood. Wouldn't it make sense for them to be put in a Hispanic neighborhood that has similar language and similar culture? No, just put them in the Black people to destabilize the Black people.
Yes, Sagittarius Goddess. Phil does give really good information. Well, yeah, I mean, because that's what they've been doing, Donovan. Their attitude is what y'all gonna do. Y'all gonna be mad for a minute, then we'll allow them to open up businesses, and y'all gonna be their customers. What y'all gonna do about it? You ain't gonna do nothing. Shut up. Go on and get the chicken and rice and all the other stuff that they gonna set up in your neighborhood. They gonna make a bag. They gonna, they come here poor, and set up in our communities, and they get all the money, and they take that bag back to their community every day, while we're like, what about us? Can we get a job? Like, well, you shouldn't have been shopping there in the first place.
Right. The richest community in the United States is the Asian community. How did that happen? There's not even 9% of Asians in America, according to the census. How did that happen? They're the richest group. In California, at least Southern California, where I live, I think they said like a third of all landlords are Asian. How did that happen?
Right. Well, how that happened. Willie, you say, unless you get tested or a phone call, text, HIV takes about 6 to 7 years to show symptoms. Eesh. The AIDS website have an HIV map that everyone should look at once a month. They break it down by counties too. See, that's why. Yeah, hear me when I say this, okay? That's why it's important to be celibate. You know what I'm saying? Don't be getting treated like a trampoline by everybody. You ain't got to worry about that, okay? I'm going to tell you right now, Demetri K has a clean bill of health. I don't have those worries, okay? I go to the doctor often. They say, you're good. In fact, I went not too long ago. Donovan, what you do? What? Because you in the DR? I ain't said nothing. But when I went to the doctor recently, he says, you are doing good. You're doing really good. I'm like, I know, right? Because I ain't got to have those worries. They ain't got to worry about scratching and itching and none of that other stuff. And who he creeping around with. Hell to the no. That's when I thank God Almighty when I'm in my bed by myself and I get to roll over to the right and I roll over to the left and I say, I ain't got to worry about no joker out there using his poker to be in everybody else. Hallelujah. What did you say, Donovan? Out of a glory. Aunt Esther. But yeah, y'all check that map out. If y'all out there in the streets, check that map out. You might learn something.
What's the website?
Right. Willie, can you put that website up again? Inquiring minds really need to know. Okay, he don't want to know. He need to know. Easy said the Indians had a treaty. How is a law going to protect us? I think that's a really good question. But can we at least get what everybody else is getting? We don't even get a law. You get it's going to be all right symbolism. Yeah. June 19th is coming. Get out there. Give all those, corporations, the white corporations, all of your black dollars. And then you'll get to have a day, and if you live in Texas, they're like, we ain't giving y'all that day off. It's, and that Juneteenth happened, if you will, in Texas, right? So some jobs are like, I'm not even going to give you the day off. The hell? So, we get that kind of stuff, but we want some real, some tangibles, so at least say, well, the Asians got a hate crime bill. Black people, we want one too. We want the immigrants. They're coming over here getting all these fine resources, as they say in Chicago. They're getting $9,000. We want it too. So
everybody's getting a bag. So think about it. If you're a landlord, who are most landlords in the United States? More than half of them are white. So they're just giving money to their people. They're just transferring the wealth unbeknownst to us to what we don't have. I mean, homeless vets, almost 1 million homeless vets, 50% of Black people are homeless, but they can't seem to solve that problem. What's wrong with this picture here?
Well, they don't want to. They don't want to solve the problem. If you think about the entity of the United States, veterans, y'all don't make them money. Y'all did when y'all was in service, but that y'all retired, y'all cost them money. If you're on any type of services, you cost money. So they're like, do we really need them around as much? You know what I mean? So if you get where I'm going, and your comment is perfect, your average logical thinker, it's all by design. MC Fact, if I didn't already, how you doing? Says destabilization of the Black community. Yep, absolutely. JBWR, how you doing? Says Donovan showing off the cannon arms. Yeah, he trying to what do you call it? I don't want to say it's not quite Popeye. Donovan, how much you had to drink today? I'm curious.
I had one Gigante Presidente, and I've been drinking.
He said Gigante, okay? Not Poquito, Gigante.
The rest of the day, all Cokes, Coca-Cola.
Yeah. The average logical thinker says if we truly wanted to run a business in our community, we could. We don't trust each other to pull our money together. Other races do. Yeah, well, who gonna be the boss? Why I can't be in charge? Why you got to be calling the shots? It's like we can't even get past that point sometimes. So
well, let's be real. How many of you guys maybe rented a house you might have had to a relative, and for some reason they figure the first 3 months they might pay the rent, and then after that they figure, oh well, we're cousins, so I didn't think I had to pay you. We all go. It's like it's business, not family oriented, but they figure they're related to you, so they don't have to pay.
As Donovan has coined the term, it's roaching. It's roaching when you move in with a family member and say, oh, okay, why I got to pay rent. I'm having some hard times. I get it to you when I get it to you. That's called roaching. Donovan says because roaches, after a while, they eat each other. and that's what sometimes we do. We roach off of each other. It's funny. So I personally wouldn't want to be roached off of. That don't sound pleasant. Ebony says HIV AIDS is so 80s. These talking points are taking root in new generation, but this is Gen X jargon and most are not American. It is very Gen X jargon. And really the baby boomers, right? That they was the ones that was in them discos, having free love and, actually the 60s too, but in the disco era, that's when, that was coming about and they're like, what is this, right? Of course, they thought it was a homosexual disease. And of course, we know now that it's not just for them, but it's funny that you say that because, now we're having that conversation as if it's new, right? Because people have gotten so detached. And I know that they got treatment and stuff that'll help you. Magic Johnson, I guess, is some sort of a miracle, I guess. I don't know. But they have all these treatments that'll help you. So people really just stop having that conversation. And now, again, I'm in Houston. You hear about this STD boom that's supposed to be just out of control. And so, that doesn't make, especially if you're a single girl, a woman, I should say, it don't make you want to be out there in them streets like that. Not that I would be out there doing that, but it does make you a little bit more cautious. Like, let me see your medical, your blood work. I don't know, something.
Well, and I think that I was watching Philip Scott, and he was talking about the diet we eat. The pH balance. Like a lot of people in the South, a lot of women out there, whatever, they're eating crab legs and all this other stuff, bottom feeding animals or whatever, and it's coming out of their pores and stuff, and it's kind of throwing off a lot of women's pH balances because they're not balancing their diet. Basically. So, that's also a problem that's prevalent in that younger generation because it's like they don't realize you can't eat crab legs every time you go out to dinner with the dude or whatever you're doing,
You know what is so funny? Because I watched that brother Phil, he did that, talked about it was somebody, I don't know, I forget what it was because I've watched so many of his stuff in the last couple of days, but I do remember the conversation about the crab legs. You talk about women like to go out for crab legs, and he's right. What you ingest in your body, it does come out in, certain orifices, if you will. And y'all can do it what y'all want with that. But yeah, the pH balance is off. But let me tell y'all something, brothers. Y'all pH balance be like battery acid too. Y'all can't, drink gigantes and pizza and fried chicken and then talk about, all right, baby, it's time to go downtown. And then you burn her whole face. Let me stop. Oh my God, I can't believe I even said that. But yeah, y'all pH balance. Y'all.
I agree with you. I know exactly where you're going with it. I agree.
I can't believe I said that. But yeah, y'all pH balance be off too. Because you hear women say, I'm this is not me. Okay. Y'all know I ain't got a lie to kick it. If it was me, I'd tell y'all. But I spoke to a lot of women, be like, damn, I was with him and my pH balance is off. Now that usually means that he been, dipping his dipstick in other, engines, if you will. And those engines ain't all that clean. And then he ain't really cleaning himself all like that. And then he comes spend the night with you. And then now you got to go to the doctor talking about, I don't smell so fresh down there. But then yet you keep hopping in the bed with this cat. It's like, once is the only time that should happen, but.
Right. But, a lot of this is tied into how we eat in our diet. Like I said, I recently had an uncle that just passed. The guy wasn't even 70 years old. I mean, technically with today's technology, we should be living to 100 like normal. That should be a normal thing. But yet people in my age category are having heart attacks, dropping out because we refuse to, we know that they're putting stuff in the food, but yet we're still eating it. We're not exercising. We're not doing the things we're supposed to do. And I don't know if it's the immaturity of the Black community because we've been treated like children and, follow the leader, whatever the deal is. But again, just like some of your people have said, it's by design. All of this is by design.
Absolutely. Brother Jonelle, you say salute to the masses not shopping on Black Friday. May we all continue not shopping on Black Friday. Save, hit the thrift stores, clearance racks after all this materials overpriced. Most materials are wants, not needs. Make sure you got what you need and stay stocked up on food and things that secure survival. We're in the book of Eli. Be like Denzel character. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Absolutely. It's funny. Some of the brothers in where my dad lives, they call him the book of Eli. He's got a wealth of knowledge. Obviously, being in the nation since he was 19, he'll be 90 in February. 90. Ooh, he'll be like, I ain't that old. Watch it. 80. He'll be 80 in February. So they call him the book of Eli. So absolutely though. Yeah. Black Friday. It doesn't sound like it went that well. I surely didn't partake in it because I don't like being among a whole bunch of crazy people, trying to get stuff they already have. Right. So yeah. And I like thrift stores. Facts Not Feeling says Blacks will be fine once whites decide to totally cut us off and forbid us to live or integrate with them. We would have no choice but to cooperate with each other. We're already kind of seeing that. If you think about it, look at the Democratic Party. We've been cut off, right? So Black people are like, all right, for real this time. We're not voting blue no matter who. I know y'all tried to tell us. That's silly. Don't vote blue no matter who. We didn't listen. We was, we on Trump. So now we're going to listen. All right, what is the plan? What was y'all trying to say to us all these years ago? So, more of us are starting to open up our ears and say, all right, I'm on board. So, yes, indeed.
Yeah, and real quick, we're also seeing that these people that have our skin tone aren't for us either. You got the Brandon Johnsons and all the Maxine Waters. You got all of these people out here that act like they're from the neighborhood, and then they get up there and they do the Democratic Party bidding. So a lot of us are waking up seeing that all skin folk ain't kinfolk.
You ain't lying. And Marcelo, you say, I have to admit, my family is truly blessed. We live in Sacramento, California, and we live in a 3-bedroom house with a nice backyard. We only pay $1,200 a month. The people that own it, they were glad we pay rent. Man, that is a blessing. You know what? Hallelujah. That is a blessing. I'm going to tell you right now, I have a 3-bedroom house that I am renting here in Houston, and I don't pay no $1,200. It's more than that. So that is a blessing, especially Sacramento. I mean, up north, everything is just through the roof. So, to God be the glory that you're paying that amount. That's really good. Because as I said, my daughter was in San Francisco a few years back, and her room rental was $1,100. So very, very good. Average logical thinker. Oh, let me see here. Let me see. I had to make sure I didn't skip. You say you better ask for records and twice on Tuesday. The life you say might be your own. You ain't lying. But see, that's one thing I'm gonna say about me. I'm very glad that I was considered to be a square and all that other stuff. I was scary, and I'm glad that I was scary, right? But people don't care about that nowadays. She look all right. She look like she took a bath last week, or whatever. He look okay. He don't smell too bad, and hop in the bed and all that other stuff. So yeah, you're right. Ebony say bottom feeders were fine before our waters were not poisoned, although I don't suggest too much seafood these days. Yeah, you gotta be very careful of the seafood. But I've never been a crab leg person. I don't see the draw. Listen, I'm not hating on anybody who likes crab legs. It's just not for me. It's too much work for such a little meat. Ladies, we know about that. But with the crab legs, it's a lot of work and it's messy. So and they're bottom feeders, like the shrimp and all that. They on the bottom of the ocean, and they're like the pig of the sea. I know they say tilapia is that way, but yeah. Marcella says we paid the rent every month during the COVID-19. We thank the Most High, absolutely, and a lot of landlords are really just happy that people are paying. So you're in a good position. Your average logical thinker says Demetri Donovan acting like he never heard the dirty disease trichomonas. Yeah, that's the other thing too, especially with that. A lot of men don't even know they got it. Just here you get some. You'll get some trick. And you'll get some trick. They don't even know, they just handing it out like candy, right? Until the woman says, listen, sucker. And then you be like, I didn't give it to you. I actually know somebody that happened to, and they're kind of going back and forth with each other. Because the woman found out she had it, and she was kind of messing around too. And she says, well, I think he gave it to me because he didn't say, he never, when I told him about it, he wasn't, mad about it. He was just kind of, oh, for real? So I think he gave it to me. I'm like, well, y'all probably gave it to each other because y'all just out there in the streets, But yeah, it's better to abstain, keep your stuff on lock and key until you get with somebody that's doing the right thing. And, y'all made a commitment to each other and all that. But all this free for all stuff, good luck. Well, Donovan is living his life. And Brother Jonas says, facts, Brother Donovan, a majority of us are programmed not to know how to eat to live, more or less what we really have a slave diet, an animal-minded diet, eating disease unaware. Majority of us are full of worms and pus, etc. Watch what you eat in the society, eat less, detox more. Yeah, absolutely right. A lot of people, that one last time they actually had a vegetable that wasn't a French fry, lettuce don't really count, especially if it's iceberg. We're talking about some real good nutrients, right? A lot of people, they don't. You could tell, I could tell look at a person and see how their diet is just by looking at them, right? They look like they've had a hard time in life because they're just robbed of nutrients. The aging process comes in a lot faster when you don't eat right. It just does. So you're right.
If you guys ever want to test that theory of how important your diet is and and what is going on, I challenge you to come here to Sosua, and you will see older men who, some of them are my age, and we look nothing alike as far as shape and body wise, and just, A lot of them are military veterans, and we got them. Maybe they're hoping they'll have a heart attack here, and that way they could be saved because the clinic is right across the street or something. I don't know, but I see. And Dimitri, you were here as well. You remember you saw so many older men that were just ain't no way. I mean, they can't. It would be a miracle if they can find their stuff even to use the bathroom.
Okay, now say that again. I'm sorry about the who uses finding the stuff to use the bathroom.
Some of these vets that are out here, some of these Americans that are out here walking around, I mean, and I'm not all that myself, but I'm just saying, I saw a dude, I was talking to a dude yesterday, and he was a year older than me. I thought he was in his middle 60s, maybe early 70s. And he was just gone. He was that far gone.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. And I don't know. I see that a lot. I don't know if it's a Southern thing or if it's just a us thing. I don't know. But I typically see people who I deem to be a little older than they actually are. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know if it's diet. I know stress has a lot to do with it, which is why I try not to let people get on my nerves because I don't need no wrinkles, no more gray hair, none of that. You know what I'm saying? So I try my hardest not to let people get on my nerves. And then they do. I cuss them out and then I just go on with my day. You know what I mean? And I try to eat right and stuff like that. It takes an effort, especially when you get older. You got to move around. You exercise, you eat right, eat as best as you can. And of course, you have some days where you kind of trick off and eat some things you're not supposed to, but get back on it. Don't have a cheat day be every day, right? Have it maybe be one day and then you get back on it or what have you. But especially like I said, when you get older, you have to really put forth an effort because gravity is on your ass. It is on you. Balding. A lot of people bald now, I ain't saying nothing about you, Donovan. I'm not saying nothing about you. Don't take this personally. A lot of people, they bald prematurely because of diet, and lifestyle and stuff like that. So, and that's true for women too. We can lose our hair. So yeah, we got to do our best to take care of ourselves.
Now, you guys do know I have leukemia, so that has a little something with my hair loss, because Dimitri will tell you in high school, I had long Jerry curl.
He did. I knew exactly what class he was at by just following the drip drops. I knew exactly where he was. So he did. He had a long little Jerry curl and all of that. Thought he was all of that. Michael, it is more affordable, but it's getting worse because like everybody said, you have implants from California, places that, the wages are typically higher, but common sense would tell anybody, well, if I'm from California and I'm working out here now in Texas, I ain't getting California wages. I'm getting Texas wages. So why are you trying to, raise because it hurts the people of Texas. It really does. So, but yeah, no, I pay more than $1,200. I'm just going to say that and knock on wood that they don't raise the rent, because if they do, I'm just going to be forced to buy something. You know what I mean? And I really don't want to do that right now because I'm kind of like, am I going to stay? Am I going to go? Or whatever. So that's kind of where I'm at. Ebony says, you are not a square. People who destroy their own blood are. Okay. Will you say, oops. He says, saw a poll with Dr. Boyce. Millennials think 54,000 yearly is the goal. Who did that poll? Laugh out loud. Respected Dr. Boyce. Yeah, that's, it'd be great, to be making that kind of money. And some people make that money, some people, but on average, people aren't making over $500,000 a year, unless they have their own business or they're, somehow doing rather well somewhere. But yeah, that's yeah. Hey, Buckhorse, how you doing today? All right, so let's skip down. And he's saying hello, Donovan, as well. Average logical thinker, he says, my homeboy had to clear his system to prepare for a colonoscopy. He said he never felt so good in those 2 days. Yeah, I've had one of those, and I actually got to get another one because my mom, she passed away of colon cancer. So her offspring, meaning my siblings, we're supposed to get it done every so often. And yeah, oh my God, that stuff that you have to drink, it is the worst. You have to drink it. It's a gallon of it's a gallon, 2 gallons or something like that, or 5 gallons.
Yeah, it's called Go Lightly. Go Lightly.
Yeah, you ain't going to go lightly, okay? You're not going to go lightly. And you have to drink that every 15 minutes for, several hours.
Stay close to the bathroom.
Oh, yeah, you feel lightly after that, yeah. So I have to
And,
get one of those.
and a lot of people, if you don't know, you can go to the dollar store or the Dollar Tree, whatever one it is, and they have magnesium citrate, which does the same thing. So you could do your own cleansing for, less than $2.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that about magnesium. I take magnesium every night unless I have to get up early because it does help you sleep. I'll be out. El Sanchez, he says, the thing I don't like is they've been writing my hotel and they took part in saving us, even down to the Palestinian over in parts of Africa as we speak, and yet they want you to speak up for them. Okay. Willie say, I guess they're saying as long as she can't find it, they're good.
Hey, I know we talk about the migrants and we talk about the Palestinians, we talk about the Jews and all that other stuff. Have you guys noticed that nobody speaks about the 250,000 Ukrainians that they are continually still sneaking, the ones that they brought in here right in your face, and they don't talk about the ones they're continuing to bring over here that have access to the Social Security fund to fund them? Isn't that funny how we don't talk about the white European type people?
Well, they said they want them over here, just not from the S-hole country. They don't want them over here. Easy to say, Donovan had Jerry curl juice all around the collar, all around the jacket, all around the school, all around his mama house, all up in her car. It was everywhere. It was all over every military barrack they went to. That's why he couldn't commit no crimes, because he was leaving a lot of evidence. Michael, you say Demetra, Texas should be your permanent home. I'm pretty sure that you will stay in that state because you know that California is too much for you in terms of dealing with Asians, Hispanics, and white people. Well, I've been dealing with that in California all my life. Yeah, there's not as many black people as it used to be, of course, when I was born or what have you. I honestly, in my ideal world, and I'm speaking into existence, I like to have a home in both places. I like to have a home in Texas, and I like to have, my brother does not want me to go back to California. My sister either. My older brother, Walter, he's like, don't come back, stay there. Because he wants to move to Houston eventually. He's like, I like it there, But my brother, he gonna find a party wherever he go. Walter he's just Mr. Adventure, right? He's like, what's popping? What's to do around here? And if he asks me, I'm like, I don't know. I don't leave the house. And he's like, bet I'll be back. And sometimes I'd have to call him, hey, dude, where you at? Oh, I'm at this such and such. I'll be back. Because I'll be worried, like, dude, where'd you go? So Walter gonna find a good time wherever he goes. And he's telling me not to go back. And then my sister, she lives in Jacksonville. She's like, why are you going back to California? Of course, my dad is there. So he would love for me to go back. And I'd love to go back for my dad. I got nieces and nephews and stuff like that. But I honestly go to California probably 3 to 4 times a year. So I think that's enough. Because every time I go there, I'm like, it's time to go back to Texas. Yeehaw! It's odd. Hello, Monica. How you doing? Said Donovan, I didn't know you had that illness. Have you tried chlorella? Blue algae, non-heat treated in doses. I heard a lot of good things about that. So she's actually watching. I think she's rewinded it, if you will. So she probably can't even see us answer this. But have you taken those things? No.
Yeah, no, actually, I've been dealing with this. We have a lot of people don't know this. There's a fruit. It's an exotic fruit called Goya banana, or known as soursop. Yeah, and it has cancer fighting properties. Now, here's something, and it's not a cure, but just think about it. If you had that in your diet from the time that you were little up until the time, you're an adult and you get older and older and older, that they say technically the chances of you getting cancer is very, very low. because it has, that those properties that fight cancer. How come Americans, we don't know things like this? And these trees grow in these Central America, down here in the DR, Asia, and stuff like that. Why is it that we don't know that stuff? So what I've been doing is I've been dealing with that, in regards to like natural things. So you will see me drinking a container when I go to the gym and stuff of the leaves, and I make a tea out of it. And knock on wood, true story, I got my white blood count before I came here to the DR, and they are now normalized. Usually they were low, and now they've been technically normalized. So, and the doctor said, well, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm taking this thing. I've been drinking this for a while. And he's like, okay, well, keep doing that. So, you never know.
Hey, yeah, easy. I've missed the rodeo ever since I've been here, right? And I want to go to the rodeo and see what it's like. So I need to get me some cowboy boots. I got some boots, but listen, I wanted to get some real cowboy boots, and my daughter, she's such a hater. She's like, you ain't no cowboy. And I mean, obviously, no cowgirl. She said, that's for people who's like dealing with cows and horses. You ain't gonna be doing none of that. So why do you need to spend that kind of money on boots? And I was like, yeah, you're right. Let me go and get some fake ones. So I got me some fake ones. So I guess if I can go into the rodeo, I'm probably gonna need some real ones and a hat. I might do it. Do I need a big belt buckle too? And kind of walk like I just got off of a horse. But I heard the rodeo was nice, and so I'd like to go and check it out, and see what it's all about. I'm game. So when is it, like February, March, or something like that? I have to keep it in mind because I always forget. And Warren, how you doing? It says uplift the Black community, liberate one another. That's the goal, right? Ebony says herbalism has been a thing for thousands of years in this land. Yeah, we just choose to get the medicine, right? Go to the doctor and they dope us up and all that other stuff. But yeah, there's natural cures. Y'all know that Walter, my brother, he's also dealing with prostate cancer, and he's chosen to go the holistic way, if you will, because the alternatives was they give him radiation, and then they or the other one is they cut it out, but either one would leave him with adverse side effects, if you will. And he's like, nah, I'm gonna do it my way, and he seems to be doing well. So we'll see. Easy. Donovan, I saw you went and you answered the door. Did you go answer the door?
Well, no. Actually, what I went to do is get a cold pill to do my congestion so I could breathe out here. The humidity is like pumping on my chest. So
why do you need to breathe later? What's the big deal of breathing correctly?
Well, if I don't breathe, my heart just might stop. I don't want my mom to somebody have to explain my mom why I was caught in that position.
Right, talk about my baby. She didn't kill my baby.
Well, the thing is, for the young lady, if her thing killed me, no man's going to want to touch it. You know what I mean?
I digress. I beg to differ, rather. They are going to want to touch it because, when they heard people heard that somebody overdosed, they're like, where you get it from? So if they hear she did that to you, they're going to be like, that's the killer cat right there. Where's she at? You said boots are good. That's what my daughter said for snake bite. So I might need to give me some boots all the way up here. I did hear that. That's why they actually wear the boots out here for snake bites. I don't know if the little boots I got gonna stop a snake bite. It's probably gonna help it get lodged into my leg or something. I'm not claiming that at all. Monica says, okay, thanks. It's great to hear, Donovan. We want you around to podcast with Dimitri. Donovan ain't going nowhere. Donovan gonna be here long after we are dust in the ground, getting on everybody's nerves, okay?
Especially in a beautiful land like this, I am highly motivated to stick around.
Right. Your average logical thinker says, I brought back soursop and dogs, blood, leaves from Jamaica. Cancer fighting, they say, yeah, especially the soursop. I ain't never heard about no dog's blood, leaves. That's interesting. Have to look into that. Ebony says, don't bring her to North America, Donovan. No claim to land. He ain't gonna bring her
No,
over
no,
there.
no, no. That would not be the reason I would be afraid to bring her to the United States. I would be afraid to bring her to the United States because American women will taint her. So, fellas, if you find you a girl overseas somewhere, do not bring her to the United States. You move to her country, because you bring her here. Now, you guys know me and Demetra K been a long time, so obviously she would meet my new spouse, right? I don't want her talking to Demetra, not at all.
Because you know I have a lot to say. Girl, let me tell you something about him, okay? Forget what this bald head milk dud sucker saying to you, okay? This is what it is over here. I know he went over there walking tall and talking tough, you know, and all that other stuff. But over here, you got rights, girl. You know, you could tell him to shut up and he'll do it. Or tell him you're going to cut him off. You know what I'm saying? He going to get the mommy position until he act right. You're welcome. Yes, brother Jonelle, the black seed oil is good. I also heard about that. I was taking it for a while, but I'm like, I be taking so much stuff. It's like, Lord have mercy. I don't know what's helping me, you know. Mike Knight, she said, continue healing for Donovan and Walter. Oh, absolutely. They are not going anywhere. And Armoni says, threatening to get them removed when they don't live heavy in Detroit because somebody won't make us take a stand for them, but say nothing and getting qualified immunity for black people to make it make sense. And who is that, Moni, if you don't mind me asking? Nora, she says, if we knew about these natural foods earlier in life, the doctors would be out of business. Same reason finances not taught in elementary school. Yeah, the doctors don't stay around because they tell you how to get well. They keep you on the precipice. Oh, take this pill, you'll feel a lot better. Come back in 3 months. We'll see if it's better, and then you ain't gonna be better, right? They're gonna say, well, we'll lower the dosage, but then you go back, oh, well, you don't seem to be doing well on the lower dosage, so now we got to give you some more. It's like, it's a hustle.
And if you think about some of the cultures around the world, like in Okinawa where I was raised, they have the longest lifespan based on just their diet and, you know, and how they live their culture. In Australia, the Aborigines there, they live a long lifestyle. So they know these things are out there. They just, you know, it's a big money hustle. You know, your life. What's the average cost of a cadaver? A cadaver, sorry. I think it's like $25. That's how much a human body's worth.
Hey.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Hey, brother Sammy, how you doing? He says, I take soursop and black seed oil every morning. Yeah, I've heard about the black seed oil. I was taking it. It's not very good, but it's good for you. You know, it's not. It's like it's hot almost. Everybody talking about don't bring her here. You can bring her here and she'll be all right. She's gonna be just fine. I'll take good care of her. We'll hang out. You know, I'll give her some true knowledge of self, and it should be fine. We can't hear you. You're on mute.
No, ma'am. I will get a what do you call that? You get a restraining order against Demetra K against my wife. Restraining order.
She'll be fine. Trust me. I'm not going to tell her anything she doesn't need to know. It's as needed basis, right? Just so she'll know how to deal better with you, you know? Oh, wait a minute now. Marty says, oh, well, I can make you breathe good brown sugar. You ought to come on over to Michigan. You got no problems. Come on over, baby. Let's have some fun. That sounded like, I read that like the 900 operators, huh? Hold on. Oh, well, I can make you breathe good, brown sugar. You ought to come over to Michigan. You got no problems. Come on over. Let's have some fun. Donovan, that sound familiar when you used to dial 900 numbers? Woo! Take all your money, be slow talking and everything.
Yeah, for $2.99 a minute. What was it? $2.99, $3.99 a minute?
Yep, be talking real slow. Hey, what's your name, honey? Donovan. Oh, I like that. Do you want to know my name? It's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Alidocious. I'll get lightheaded because of being silly now. Okay, let me get. You can't have a blazer on and be acting crazy. You got to be a little bit more buttoned up. All right, we're about to get out of here because I can see Donovan itching. His, what do you call them? Poppy, crappy adoras, what they call?
It's called, the term is called chapeadora. That means gold digger.
Yeah, I'm just like, because I was like, Donovan keep talking about some choppy adora. I'm like, is that a good thing? It's not because he keeps saying, so it must be a good thing. So me and my daughter, we look. She said it literally means gold digger. I'm like, do he know that? She said, I'm sure he does.
We must stay focused, fellas. We must stay focused. When you go to these countries, you got to do your homework first.
Right. Yeah, easy. I do take turmeric and black pepper capsules every day. So I seem to be doing all right, I guess. How you know? $1.99 a minute. How much did you run your mama phone bill up? Because that was back in the day. So a lot of y'all, you know, was living with your mamas. That's when, you know, Clio and all them was coming out. And 1-800 numbers or 900 numbers and all that. So how much did you run your mama bill up? I know she whooped your butt too. I do, huh? Easy. Yeah, they sound like I didn't have any training. I was in high school or so when that was going on, but I remember the commercials. Hey, sugar, are you lonely?
Wait. Wasn't there a Spike Lee movie on that, Girl 6?
Yes. But the commercials just come on, like if you was up way past your bedtime. Hey, honey. Yes, you. No, you. I'm talking to you. You know, the one that's sitting on the couch and it's lonely and needs a little company. Well, I'll be your company. Go ahead and call 1-900, get your lotion, and I'll be more than happy. Oh, I'm about to get a phone call from my dad. He gonna be like, what? All right, for real. Brother Jonell, you say you're in charge. For everything that's used in the hospital, all your body parts are priced to it. So the end game is revenue, not your health. As we are taught in the nation, you are your first doctor. Even the doctor asks you first. So what seems to be the problem? Yeah. And you better have some sort of idea when you go in there, right? At least Google or something. Don't tell them, I don't know. And then they've been wrote you up as a whole cancer patient, and all you have is indigestion or something. Willie says, sounds like Lady DJ from the movie Warriors. Okay. So that's El Chapadora, Chapadora. How you say it? Chapadora?
A chapeadora. Daughter, female. Chapeadora, female aspect.
Chapeadora. And y'all know they gold digging. Why we can't get away with it? Why can't they get away with it? Y'all are lovingly calling them chapeadoras, but y'all calling us everything but the child of God because we trying to do it.
Because you guys are on the home team. You're not supposed to stick it to us like that. Not when you're on the home team.
So y'all want to stick it to us for free, but y'all sticking it to them and paying them. Why are they special? I'm just saying. I'm asking questions. I think a lot of ladies want to know. All right, for real. Yeah, it says, Ebony, wasn't that a college commercial? He wasn't so annoying. Brother Judah said, I do that. I'm just saying, I did hear those commercials on TV back in the day, and I was like, I wonder how much money they're making. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. Let's see. Oh, and everybody says the actual daughters of Zion, backwards, said they won't be happy until America's out of their hands. Yeah, them daughters of Zion, them choppy adoras over there, that's getting all of Donovan's bread. And he ain't complaining. Ain't that something you ain't even complaining. But let somebody over here ask you for $1. Where your baby daddy at? Why I got to pay? You a gold nigga, you know. Brother Samuel says, is this the breathing you all talk about, or another word that sounds the same? I have no idea. No idea at all. But anyway, I've been up since 5 o'clock. If you guys care, I've been working from sun up to sundown now. And Donovan is ready to get to his Chapiadora. You know, they're going to play cards, Uno. Now, I think you got a Bible in the room.
Yeah, we're going to sit down, pray a little bit. Yeah, she's really good at dominoes. We'll have some dominoes. They got a pool table down at the Coco's, you know.
I must say that you should always have the sound on when I say that Donovan's Chapiadora is coming on, and you go, because that could mean a lot of things, you know. I didn't know you say you were gonna. That was the big six.
Big six, you know. She likes to play dominoes, and we play dominoes, and we talk world politics and things like that.
Sure you do. So anyway, y'all, we love and appreciate every last one of y'all. We're gonna get out of here and let Donovan get to his vacation. Donovan, will you be here with us on Tuesday?
On a Tuesday, yes. I'm going to be here Tuesday. Like I said, I'm doing mostly medical stuff during the week, so I shouldn't have any problems with that. Because I've pretty much been all over the DR already, so it's like, you know, it is what it is. But see, also, I am not on vacation. When you're a retired person, every day is just another day. So I'm not on vacation. I'm just exploring the world out here, just doing stuff.
Yeah, you're right. You do know all of the DR, and they know you as well. So it's just like you said, your second home. You know, Donovan walks outside. Hey, there he is. Where you been? We miss you. The local economy hasn't been the same since. Hey, Precious, how you doing? Well, we talking about getting up out of here now. Moni says soursop is your favorite, along with red clover, blossom yellow, dock, ashwagandha, spironella, hawthorn berry, holy basil, turmeric, ginger, lion mane, burdock root, podarco, some great blood detoxifiers. Listen, if it don't get rid of something in the blood, you maybe need to add something else. I don't know, because that sounds like a lot of stuff. Anyway, hey, Brina, how you doing? Yep, we finna get out of here, but we love and appreciate you. You can watch the playback. Again, we have ways to help the channel there at the bottom. Also, please, if you haven't already, go over to africandiasporanews.org and invest in the app so that we can be free to be us the way we want to do that on our own platform, like for real. So anyway, y'all have a great rest of your evening. We'll see you on Tuesday. Will must be watching the playback. All right, y'all. Peace.